So I am Alisa Thaler, wife of Andrew Thaler.
Since October last year, not less than 19 formal code of conduct complaints have been lodged against this councillor, and an astonishing number that he himself has boasted about on social media.
So for none of those 19 has a single matter been put to Andrew, and in fact he doesn't even know what all those 19 are because they were not given to him. And he certainly had no right of reply. And so what she refers to, it costs $10 to $15 or whatever $1,000 per thing. That is correct if they go through the council-based code of conduct inquiry system. It costs that money, depending on how far they take it. If it's just a quick inquiry, it's nothing, or we can resolve it, it's less or more. I think 17 grand is about. They are not those anymore. They are now in the hands of the local government. Any inquiries are not council-based anymore. It's the local government is to do it, but they still have not. No, nothing has been put to Andrew. So they're stating it and repeating it like, yeah, he's guilty. He's been found out. Look at all these things he did wrong, but nothing's been proven or tested.
I want to confirm what you just said, that out of those 19 formal codes of conduct, none of them have been investigated, none of them have been proven?
Correct.
Yet they keep being recycled in the community?
Yes, and in the newspaper headlines. And yeah, that is what they do. So they create the story, they create the headline, which you do have a limited right, Andrew has a limited right of reply, but it doesn't matter because that's just going to be pulled up again later. And it's a little bit of hindsight. You're like, oh, that's why they did that. They did that then, so it could be used for this. And they did that then, so it could be used for this. And it's, yeah.
That's incredible, because if you don't have an investigation, you don't know whether that code of conduct has merit.
Correct.
Or it's just vexatious, or just completely made up. I know that...
And also that's not only not fair to Andrew, but not fair to the supposed victim, because maybe there is something that really needs to be resolved and it has not yet. It just sits there in limbo. And part of the system is the person who's making the accusation is not meant to be disclosed, and Andrew's not meant to say anything about them in the code of conduct system. When it gets moved to the local government, it's a different system. Yeah.
Yet on social media, this councillor has subsequently called a fellow councillor, a woman he has targeted repeatedly, a big fat liar, a clear violation of the minister's directive. And it hasn't stopped there. He has publicly declared that the same fellow councillor is not a fit and proper person to serve the people. The hypocrisy alone is staggering.
So we are living in a world that you cannot say certain things now that you used to be able to say in the past, that you can say, but it depends where you say it and in context. To say that he's the bad guy because he's saying bad things, but the overall of what he's saying is ignored, right? So he's saying this person is not telling the truth, and I'm calling them a liar. And he has gone on to say, and why I think this is so, which is much better than just saying they're a liar, right? And I think this is so. I believe part of the problem is it's a man calling out a woman. It's a woman who, through her own words, it's just been put back to her for clarity, which is not being clarified. And he's catching her out in lying. So which I actually believe is different than not telling the truth, because you can not tell the truth and not lie. If that makes sense. Nicole is using it any advantage she can, and she's using her parliamentary privilege to mention these words in Parliament, which, as we pointed out about the code of conduct and he shouldn't even really be there, is not true, right? Because whoever gave her that information about the code of conduct is not correct. She hasn't done her research properly. But she's trying to influence a wider audience because she can. So she is focusing on Andrew, but she's not focusing on the issues that Andrew is raising. And you think that is actually what members of Parliament and members in the council are meant to be doing. They're meant to be protecting the people, serving the people. That's the way people assume is what these roles are for. Yeah.
He's accused council of a cover-up regarding asbestos management and openly threatened to hold council to account, apparently attempting to undermine public trust.
Yeah, he has for a number of years. So the problem with asbestos in our local area is not a new one, because Andrew covered stories of it inappropriately put in Polo Flat. It was inappropriately, like, asbestos mixed with other rubble was inappropriately put on the side of the creek right near our house in Niminabel. It's now being put, the allegation is it's in Nichole in 2 different locations under 2 different, completely different scenarios. And these recent ones in Nichole, he has evidence that council knew for years and has not acted on it. And that is what is happening now. And that's with it. That's the link to Tanya, is that she lives in Nichole. And it's her responses to the community asking questions that he's now calling out. Are they concerned about the word that she's fat? Is that the problem? Because you shouldn't say that about a person. Well, is she a fat liar? Does she tell big lies? Is she a big woman?
For too long, too many have remained silent, while just a handful of courageous locals across the political spectrum have tried to push back. These brave hearts feel ignored, unprotected, and even unsafe in the place they call home. This Labor government must not fail them.
I think they're focusing on that because they can. That is not the problem. That is not the issue. They're just using it to find another little thing to hang up. Oh, there's another peg, there's another peg. Oh, he's an awful woman. So terrible, The radio guys, why is he considered national news? Why is it that this horrible man exists in this small village and these poor women? Well, when that story ran, referring back to the Sydney Morning Herald article about this horrible man, I had so many women say, Andrew is not a threat to us as women. Those women are causing harm in our community and he's calling them out. That's the truth of the story. But that's how is that? It's like, can we write a counter article? It's like, well, I don't really know how that could happen. But that's what people said. We can't believe that those women are making women look bad and that they wrote that story or allowed that story to be written and have portrayed our community in that way because it was false.
This is not about democracy. It's not about free speech. Most certainly it's not about public service. It's harmful, destructive and dangerous behaviour that is hurting this community, not just its residents, but its reputation, as well as trust and confidence in local government itself.
So if she's talking about you can't call someone big fat lies, not about democracy, not about free speech, that's the only thing she's focusing on is, sorry Nicole, that's really boring, okay? Because the democracy concept is that every person who's an adult gets to vote. And you kind of think it's a public... It's the public choice of who the best man for the job. And probably at the local level, that is the closest you're going to get to the best man for the job. Because you got 11 people in total that gets chosen. And so a lot of the votes, people, like I mentioned before, they will vote for the individual they know that can do the job. And then you've got the party voters who will just vote for the party, maybe not the individual. Anyway, but that... with democracy. From the start to even before Andrew became the official councillor, some of the previous councillors and related council people were trying to work out how to not let him in the room. So he already had a ban, which he had said was not legal. So there's a difference between legality and illegal. No, it's not illegal. It wasn't legal. They did not have the power to ban him. They did not have, they had the ability to write the letter. They had the ability to pay for the security guard for 18 months in case he turned up, so you're not let in the door. But they didn't have the lawful authority like they thought they did to let him in, not let him in, which he knew for years. But it wasn't until he became the councillor went, you know what, a lot of people actually support me doing this. I'm pushing ahead because I know they are wrong. So before he even became a councillor, they were conspiring, because that's what it is when a group of people work together against someone, to keep him out. So he overcome that legally, so that they worked out, yes, his lawyer said, yes, definitely you can get in, and the council agreed that they could get in. So the democracy is the person who is chosen to represent the community is allowed in the door. That's the beginning of it.